Good morning. I have made so many clips of like tracking how I've been doing with nursing, but I end up just storing them away and not using them for anything. But I'm hoping that I can track this new journey that I'm pursuing. I'm very excited. I'm very nervous because I'm a single Muslim woman pursuing this very big degree. So I just want to share my journey with what it's like. I've always had the intent of being very transparent with my journey. So tag along for the ride. So today is Monday, October 27th. It is 6:30 in the morning. I'm very tired. I got this opportunity at my current hospital to shadow a CRNA, and it's only for 4 hours. I'm very excited. I'm very nervous. I do have a ninja under cap just in case they want me to take off my hijab, and I do have an under cap that is not a ninja. It just has like a back cover and like the string in case they don't want my neck covered, but being that I'm not going to be the actual surgical tech, I don't think they're gonna have any problems with leaving my ninja hijab on and covering my neck, but we'll see. They might even let me keep my hijab on and tuck it in under my scrub top. I just wore business casual clothes with some sneakers that I've been wearing for work, and I did not eat anything. I am trying to drink as much water as I can, but I remember in nursing school for my first OR case, I didn't have anything for breakfast. I believe I was probably emotional the night before and I didn't get any sleep, and then when I was standing in the OR room for this debridement, I just felt myself just get a wave of like, I feel like I'm going to faint or vomit or something. So I had to step out of the OR room and then come back in. I remember the surgeon looking at me and asking me, is this your first case? And I was like, yes. Yeah, and then the second surgery I had was, I think, a GI resection or something like that. So I was just standing there for a very long time, just bored. I remember looking at the CRNA and she was just scrolling on Facebook or something like that. But yeah, so I am pursuing the CRNA program. I'm not sure where. I have been looking at different schools, out of state, in state, ones that require chemistry, ones that do not require chemistry, ones that require the GRE, ones that do not require the GRE. At the end of the day, they all require 1 year or 1,700 hours of ICU experience with adults, and your CCRN credential. So I am leaving NICU. I'm returning to adult ICU for a few more months in order to gain connections, in order to improve my critical thinking skills, and in order to get that CCRN credential. I just want to be able to apply my critical care skills in my clinical practice in order for the questions to make sense. Once I became a nurse and realized that being a nurse practitioner is an overpaid, underworked doctor unless you open your own practice, and there's so many routes that you can take with NP, and it's an amazing opportunity. But once I realized that NP inpatient is not what I wanted to do, I ended up going to NICU, but realizing that neonatal NP is just the same, if not worse, than an NP inpatient in my mind. Becoming a neonatal NP, you're not able to open your own practice or leave the profession, leave that specialty. So unfortunately, once I realized that neonatal NP was not it for me, I was like, oh no, what do? I need to further my education. I need to further my career. I just don't know what to do. That's when I started to look into CRNA. This is my first shadow shift. I'm very excited to see exactly what it entails. But for the most part, I've seen everybody on, of course, social media. I've seen everybody on social media so happy with their decision and encourage everybody to do the same. And if that person has the opportunity to become a CRNA or go through the program, don't be intimidated by student loans and just do it. So with that being said, this is the beginning to my new journey of CRNA school. Good morning, it's official. I'm out of the NICU, and at first I was afraid that I didn't make the right decision, but I'm actually getting very excited to start on this new unit. It is with adults. I'm going to be in medical ICU. I quickly realized that I didn't want to do neonatal NP, that whether I do NP inpatient with adults or with neonatals, it's the same. I don't want to do NP, so that's why I'm pursuing CRNA. I'm working on improving my critical care experience, my critical thinking skills. I'm studying for the CCRN. I'm using some lectures. I'm still trying to figure out a good routine and a good balance to study for both CCRN and GRE, but at this point I'm just focusing on the CCRN because I want it to help me with my clinical practice. And what else? I want to build my references and do more shadow hours, and I feel like there's more opportunity at this hospital to shadow CRNAs. At my other hospital, I did shadow for 4 hours and it was amazing. So yesterday I had my day 1 of orientation. I wish I would have recorded my reaction after, but I was still trying to get adjusted to my sleep pattern being day shift. I'm gonna have 2 weeks of orientation for the hospital, which will be day shift schedule. And then when I left, I picked up my scrubs and I was just so exhausted. It was a very long day. But what I wore for orientation was business casual. Some people wear their scrubs, which is totally fine. I just wore business casual pants, a long sleeve top, and then of course my brown hijab, because I am just most comfortable with my brown hijab. And I wore my sneakers that I've been wearing for work because they are newer, so they are clean. I just wanted to go comfortable. I'm a nurse, so I don't think anybody's going to be looking at my sneakers or like my shoes. And it was a very long day. Our orientation started from, check-in was at 7:45 or 7:30. I think I got there at 7:30 because breakfast was provided. I got there at 7:30, it started at 8, and it didn't end until 5 o'clock in the evening. It was just a series of presentations from people who are high up in the hospital, and they discussed all of their models on how to improve the hospital internally and how they're expanding in the community. So I would definitely recommend, if you are a night shift person or not a morning person, to get prepared for a day shift schedule and a very long lecture or a very long presentation day, because I wouldn't want to be the person who's like falling asleep during these presentations, or I wouldn't want to be the person who's not paying attention because they're so tired or distracted by somebody else, because they will call on you for questions. There were a lot of group activities that we worked on together, and we were divided into there was 100 and maybe 20 to 50 people. So we were divided into like tables that were in circles, and there was maybe 7 to 8 people at each table. So we did do a lot of group projects. I absolutely loved my group. They were all nurses. 2 of them were new grads, and the other ones had some prior experience. So it was definitely a great environment. I'm very happy that we did that. And today I can be expecting to do something similar. We're supposed to be meeting at the hospital in like a meeting conference auditorium type, and then that's only for about 4 hours, and then I will be going to the unit and meeting the managers, I think, for I don't know what, for another 4 hours. So today will be again from 8 to 5. Check-in is at 7:45, but I do have to take a shuttle, so I park at one parking garage, and then I take a shuttle to the hospital. So right now it's 6:51. My ETA is 7:22 to the parking garage, which gives me plenty of time for commute to get to the hospital and figure out where to go. So this is all I have for right now for this clip, but I'm super excited for this journey and to share the very beginning of figuring out CRNA school. My living situation, I will definitely be going into more detail with that. I remember in nursing school, I was very transparent. I said that I did live I did not live with my parents. I was living with some other people, and I was splitting some bills. But I mentioned that if I was to live with my parents, I would still want to contribute. So the same applies right now. I am living on my own, but I would love to move back in with my parents when this lease is up, to save up as much money as I can for CRNA school. Some people go in with nothing, some people go in with 60K, some people go in with 30K, 20K, so 6K. So my main priority is like getting my finances figured out, getting like down to the very bottom dollar, like paying off my car for the next like 5 months and saving up as much money as I can. Nurses in Florida don't make that much. If you are day shift and you are living alone, you are most likely living paycheck to paycheck. So I am fortunate that I do work nights, so it's a little bit extra like coverage, but I am doing everything on my own, so it's a little bit tight. And I don't want to be doing this during CRNA school. I know that you can take out student loans, but like for living expenses aside from the student responsibility of paying tuition, but there's only like sometimes a max of 20K per year, and that's just not enough. So yeah, let's see how today goes. Today was the 3rd day of orientation, and it was really quick. It was 2 hours of epic modules, and unfortunately I just looked at next week's schedule, and Monday we have a 4-hour, I believe, epic training class. And I've been at these epic training modules like 2 times already, and they're just so dreadfully long. I absolutely love the Epic software, but there's just so many little things that you can do with Epic. Like there's so many customizable things and features that they want you to know, and they're super helpful and the functions are amazing. It's just sitting through these courses or these like training classes are absolutely dreadful. So not looking forward to that one, but I am excited to get another introduction back into Epic because my brain is still more familiar with the like NICU pediatric side. So it's a good introduction to remember what the adult Epic version looks like, and also like what features that maybe I've never used before that I feel would be helpful, especially since I am coming back as an experienced nurse. So I am very excited to learn new things. I have already seen a few things today that are going to be very helpful. Otherwise, the class was 2 hours, and then I have to do 4 hours of online training. I only have one more Epic like amplifier training to do. The rest that I have to do are strictly pertaining to nursing, clinical practice, assessment, diagnoses, and like different kind of like manifestations that I'm going to see on the floor. So I definitely want to take those very seriously and take some notes. So even though I powered through everything else, I want to focus on these, take my time with it, take notes, and just make everything kind of like stick to my brain, because I'm very excited and very serious about taking my critical care skills and critical thinking skills to the next level. I'm very serious about CRNA school, and I'm really manifesting that everything goes well. I'm very excited to see what it is that I learn on my unit, all the kinds of patients. So I'm getting excited because it's just one more week of hospital-based orientation before I'm on my way to the mosque right now. I've had such an amazing weekend. It was actually pretty interesting to see like kind of like a 9 to 5 schedule, and then have like the weekends off, because normally when somebody who's working 312s has a weekend off, it could be a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, so it doesn't necessarily feel like a weekend. So on Friday I only had about 2 hours or 3 hours worth of some in-person training at the hospital, and then I did some online modules. And then Saturday I think I stopped by to see my family briefly, or maybe that was Friday. And Saturday I had like 3 different events to go to with a friend, which was amazing. And then today I had an event this morning which was a few hours long, and like I said, I'm going to the mosque to spend some time with some girls, actually by myself before some girls arrive. And it's just been an overall very peaceful weekend, and I feel like really rejuvenated for the week, and I'm just ready to take it on. I don't think I could do this as like a regular norm because I don't feel like I have enough time to see my family on Saturday and Sunday and to do all the events that I would want to attend. So I just feel like I am still 100% on working 312s. I don't think I could do like an office 9 to 5. But yeah, it was just really nice to get kind of like a feel of what it's like to work Monday through Friday. And it was kind of like hybrid because I would obviously have hospital time, but then I would have at home e-learning time. So so it was kind of nice to like do hybrid for a little bit. This is just gonna be my last week, just 2 weeks of that. I'm familiar with orientation at this hospital, at any hospital, and what they give you is what's called like a CBO tool. They give you like a checklist, and it's a ton of paperwork. You have to go through and make sure that your preceptor has witnessed you or explained the specific skill, and they have to sign they have to sign off and make sure that you are competent in that skill. And that's for the higher ups. Like if they are doing an audit on any nurse, they say, give me this folder or this binder of this nurse to make sure that everything matches up and that they are supposed to be practicing and that they are competent to practice. So I did go through, organize my binder. I did have my previous binder or folder from my original unit, and I was able to take whatever learning resources that I had from that like specialty, and I just threw it into my binder, made sure everything was organized. I did print a welcome to ICU, like somebody printed it out for me, but it's kind of like you would find it on Etsy. Some people make like notes that you can print out and review or reflect on. That way it's kind of easier to navigate through critical care. So I did take that out of my first jobs folder and put it in my new binder because I want to reference it. And I made it look pretty because there are so many resources that I have, and I wanted to make sure that I had access to it. So without further ado, we have week 2 of hospital orientation. So today was the epic training class that I was dreading all week, and it was actually super fast. The person who was talking was very fluent, and I was part of the class that was like more fast-paced, so we didn't end up getting out early, and the 2 assessments everybody got 100%. So I was really dreading today, but alhamdulillah, it went by really fast. I'm home like by 4:20, and I think I want to focus on studying for CCRN because all of my mind labs are pretty much completed, and I don't want to complete them too soon because then I won't have anything to track my hours with. I need to make sure that I get 38 to 40 hours each week. Last week, based on the schedule, I got 38 hours. So inshallah, this next week coming up will calculate to 40. Like I said, I don't want to do my mind labs too fast. I thought I was going to take notes on the ones that are like RN related, but it's really just like hospital policy stuff, and I'm not interested in taking notes on hospital policy as long as I know where to access that information. Also, like for example, there was like a module on codes. So even though I need more work on codes, that's not something to take notes on. It's something to make note of and talk to my preceptor about it. That way I can get a visual on how to pull emergent meds out of the Pyxis. I've never been a recorder before, so like running down like how a recorder is a little bit more organized, like some strategies, like that's not something that I can get out of the modules and I need to take notes on. So that's why I just quickly went through that, got my 100% on the quiz. And yeah, so right now, alhamdulillah, I can focus on studying for CCRN. And the best part about it is everything that I'm learning from these Largus videos, the lectures that I'm taking notes on, is that it's pertaining to critical care, obviously, but it's a rundown of all the systems, very strategically organized, and I can apply it to my clinical practice, which is going to happen this Sunday. So I'm very excited to get my studying going. Today's Tuesday. It's the second day of my second week for my hospital orientation, and I don't expect much out of this day. I feel like it's just going to be another hospital orientation day. We're here until 12, and I'm gonna come back to my apartment, change real quick, grab some things, and then head to my brother's baseball game. It's like the tournament, it's like the last game that he has of the season, so I'm very excited to be able to attend. And that's really it. I'm super excited to just get this work day over with. I'm technically supposed to be doing e-learnings today when I come back from my family's house, because I won't spend the night, because I feel like that's just too much trying to get down to the hospital really early morning for tomorrow. So yeah, I overall think it's gonna be a really good day, and I'm very excited to see what I learn. So to quickly catch up on my week so far, today is Friday, November 21st. It's about to be 7 a.m. I have to be back at the hospital at 7:45, and we'll be here until like 12:30ish on Wednesday. Okay, so I kept saying that I was dreading the 8-hour or 4-hour epic class. It was an 8-hour day, but the epic block was only 4 hours out of that day. We ended up leaving early, and I already spoke about how amazing our presenter was that day. And it was actually the next day that I was dreading. It was so long. So Wednesday we had our nursing skills, where we went to different rooms in the hospital, like in the basement, for learning education purposes. And it was so bad because I was so exhausted that I was practically falling asleep during every single station. Like, once we started to do the hands-on, if there even was hands-on stuff to do, then I would like wake back up. But it was so bad. I mean, like, each station, each block of education had about 1 hour to present their information, to give us hands-on learning, and it was just so painful. So painful. And today we're actually completing all of those nursing skills, so we have about 4.75 hours left of that. Yesterday I was actually on the floor for about 8 hours. I got there it said 7, but I got there early, that way I could try to get report at least. We had one patient. It was an amazing experience. I got to have that education with the family members, some experience with that. I got some experience with, obviously, patient care, critical care, and yeah, it was very nice. As I expected, we were the code bed. Everybody was super friendly, and I got to see my night shift manager. Overall, it was an amazing experience. So yeah, I'm just overall very happy. I will definitely go a little bit more in depth, but I just wanted to catch up on like what the week has been looking like, and I really wanted to stress how dreadful like those like presentations and like those hands-on skills, but it was such good experience because not only did we go over like wrist restraints, it was like basic cap stuff that we're gonna go over every single year for education, but it was also stuff that I feel like I don't really remember getting information like the first time around, but it was a lot of refresher on some things. And I'll get like my schedule back, or I'll take a peek at it and I'll remember what it is exactly we went over. But it was definitely great experience, great refresher. And today's shift, even though it was yesterday's shift, even though it was day shift, it was definitely a great refresher and great experience, especially because the assignment that we had was pretty heavy. So I'm very excited to just get over today. I filled out all my time slips with all the e-learnings that I did at home, and today, like I said, 4.75 hours, and then I'm supposed to be doing some mind labs at home. I really tried to make sure that I didn't finish everything at once, that way I did have enough to cover, make sure that I got 40 hours each week. So yeah, I try to make sure that I have some mind labs each day that I'm supposed to do mind labs, so that way I can get credit for all of my hours. I can't believe it's already Saturday. I had my first night shift on Sunday night, which is tomorrow night. It's 1 p.m. I did have a later morning. I wanted to sleep a little bit more than I did because I'm trying to transition into that night shift sleep schedule, but I think I can get a lot done today in terms of like chores, and I'm getting a Pilates class done out of the way today as well. Might meet with a friend, and I would love to get some studying in, some studying, reading, maybe finish up some e-learnings. The only e-learnings that I have left to do are like waste and some other like mental health, patient handling e-learning, and it's really just the questions portion because I'm not good with questions multiple choice and I'm just having a hard time finishing them, but hopefully I can get those things done. I know I touched base on like the schedule for what we did during the week, the second week of orientation, hospital orientation. So we just continued yesterday, like the nursing skills portion of orientation. It was really just IV starts, blood cultures, how to chart on everything, and what else did we do? We did a mock code. We did Foley insertions, which these are annual caps. So technically it's not like they're treating me as if I'm not a new nurse, or it's not that they're treating me like they don't think I'm experienced. These are annual caps regardless. So next October, we're gonna be going over these things again anyways. So I really did enjoy the refresher. I feel like I did pretty good. I didn't have any anxiety. I feel like nursing school was so traumatizing. I wish I could share all the women on my followers how like stressful it was. It was so bad. I wish I can make my old videos into audios because I was so stressed out. I was like crying in some of my videos and just explaining how rough and traumatizing it really was. I remember my first semester of nursing school, I think the very last day we had a check off, of physical assessment, and it was a focused assessment, not even a full like head to toe. It was a focused assessment, and my brain just cannot wrap around what the concept of what I was supposed to be asking, what I was supposed to be assessing, and I almost didn't pass for multiple reasons. But one of the like last reasons why I almost didn't pass my first semester of nursing school is because I couldn't pass my focused assessment, and it was just a traumatizing experience. But alhamdulillah, everything is like, I'm at this point in my nursing career where I'm just like numb. I didn't talk much about my first shift on the unit. I also don't want to give too much information because of obviously HIPAA and like privacy information, but I just want to say it was such an amazing day. I'm so glad that I was there for that shift because we did have an unstable patient. A lot of critical thinking was involved. I got to see how exactly the teams work on our unit. It's going to be a little bit different on night shift, but it was great to have that face-to-face interaction with the providers. We have residents, we have sometimes fellows. That day we did have a fellow. We had a pharmacist. We had pharmacy around, and I can't remember if they do that on all the units, but I've never seen a pharmacist doing rounds. So I don't know if it's because I'm a night shifter and I've never seen that before, if it's specifically for our unit, but I was very impressed. And then of course we had the attending / MD. So it was very, very nice to see. And yeah, I really loved my day shift preceptor. We did connect instantly. It was amazing. She has an amazing personality. And I did get to ask her a lot of questions about like her passing her CCRN, her experience. Usually if I'm with a preceptor, and this is like, I'm trying to do tips and tricks as I go and explain my orientation, but usually if I have a preceptor for an extended period of time, over my orientation, I really like to not just get to know their work experience, but their personal life as well. Partly because I'm very nice, and I also want to see how they, have their work-life balance. How are they going to be as a coworker? And if I really do connect with this preceptor, like, I love giving gifts. So I didn't do it my first go around, but I did do it my second go around, and I'm possibly going to do it my third go around, just because it's very difficult to be a preceptor. Not only are you working but you're explaining as you go everything. You have to be very thorough, and it takes a very skilled nurse to be able to do that, explain what they're doing. And it's different from patient education as to what you're doing. It's explaining the pathophysiology, the whys. It's explaining every critical thinking concept that you have in your brain. You're thinking out loud so that this new nurse can understand how to perfect her skills. Also the paperwork that comes along with it. So I did go ahead, and because it's my third go around, I went ahead and we get a binder with CBO tools. So it's basically a checklist of all of the skills you need to perform in front of your preceptor, and they have to sign off that they've even seen you perform it or that they've discussed it with you. And so I had to do a self-assessment. I had to rate myself 1 through 5 and how competent I am, or how competent I feel that I am in that specific skill. And I had to initial as well as rate myself. And it's a lot of paperwork. There's like, I think 3 or 4 packets. Yeah, 3 or 4 packets. And I'm only on orientation for 3 weeks. So they have 3 weeks to go through every single skill. I mean, I can like show you later. But they have to go through every single skill, sign off, make sure that I'm competent, and they trust me in performing those skills. So yeah, I'm actually very excited. One of the like little bumps that I've had is I can't log into our charting software. I was on the unit on Thursday, tried to log in. I wasn't able to log in and do like a dual verification for medications that we were hanging. We administered blood products. I wasn't able to verify that. So it was a little bit discouraging, and it looked like I was a new nurse in front of the family members, but that's the least of my concern. So then Friday, when I was back in the hospital doing the rest of my nursing skills, orientation, hospital stuff, I did step on my unit. I tried again, didn't work. The problem wasn't resolved, so I did have to call IT one more time and place another ticket. So inshallah tomorrow I'll be able to log in and actually, I don't want to go through a workflow, but in the event that I do need to sign off, I would like to be that resource nurse to sign off, because it's much more convenient when you have a shadow who can also help and do stuff. And it goes beyond being a tech or being like you know, I think some of the experienced people know what I'm talking about, but it goes beyond that. It's like, okay, I'm trying to get through my shift, take care of this patient, get my workflow done, and I'm precepting, and this preceptee can't even like sign off. So I just feel like for me, being an experienced nurse, like it would just be more convenient for my preceptor if I could just sign off, because it's just really annoying. But anyways, I think that TED Talk, that rant is enough. I know that I'm trying to track my CRNA progress to getting into CRNA school, and I want to be as thorough as I was when I first started nursing school. Finances, prerequisites, studying for exams, everything. Inshallah, when I get in, I want to be thorough about how I study. I know like this thing just happened the other day where nurses are no longer professional, so I want to be very thorough as to, am I taking out student loans, am I saving up money, am I doing travel nursing in order to save up all that money, because bedside nursing is not enough when you're staff. So yes, I really hope that these videos are still helping people, and like always, please DM me on Instagram. I do love my page being on private, but I do accept message requests. So thank you again for your support.